Welcome everybody, my name is Doragon and this is going to be my first ever reaction video. I don't know if I'm going to do any more of these after this particular one. It's a very specific thing that has made me want to make a reaction today, and that is the new Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. The reason for that is I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I have loved Spider-Man as long as I can remember. I have read all the different writers in my lifetime. I've gone back and read even more. I've watched every movie that has come out. I've played every game that has come out and seen the variation in quality across the board. I personally am not a huge fan of the MCU Spider-Man. I liked his appearance in Civil War, despite not liking the rest of that movie. But in his own movies, I very much feel like the character is just that, a character. He's not actually a real person. There is nothing within the scripts or the direction that makes me believe that this character is real, that this is a real emotion, a real reaction from this particular character that I'm viewing on screen. It feels like a kid playing make-believe in their back garden. That's how I feel from the MCU. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that love the MCU version of Spider-Man, and I've had many different discussions, debates, and arguments with friends and family over this. I am not saying that I am an authority on Spider-Man. I have just got a lot of experience with the character. I know a lot of where these narrative threads that they're pulling on the MCU are coming from, and I'm interested to see what they do with it, whether it does end up appealing to a long-time Spider-Man fan such as myself. So we're going to jump into this. Going to have a look at the trailer. I've not seen anything on it yet, so here we are. We are on YouTube. A lot of my recommendeds down the right-hand side here. We're on the official Sony one. Sony own the rights to Spider-Man. For anybody that doesn't know, it is a deal that has been struck with Marvel for him to appear in the MCU. I don't like the way the House of Mouse have done their negotiating to keep Spider-Man in the MCU. Trying to put Sony under the thumb, so I will support the Sony side of it. But main thing is, let's see what we've got. It looks like a very interesting start to this with the intro screen here, but let's have a look at this trailer. Okay, we've got Doctor Strange.
Oh, look at this. This is a good one. Some suggest that Parker's powers include the male spider's ability to hypnotize females.
Stop, come on.
Is that even a thing in nature?
Can we just stay up here all day? It is so crazy down there.
That's right, folks. Spider-Man is in fact Peter Parker.
Listen, I did not kill Mysterio. The drones did.
The drones that are yours.
Does any part of you feel relieved about all this?
What do you mean?
Now that everybody knows, you don't really have to hide.
No, I don't know American law. But isn't Peter Parker a minor in the MCU? Isn't he under the age of 18, 21? Shouldn't he have an attorney or parent present before they start questioning him? I know he's this super-powered individual and he's fought to save the world. He's fought Thanos and stuff, but that feels illegal. Is that not wrong?
Or lie to people.
For the record, I never wanted to lie to you. But how do you tell someone that you're Spider-Man?
Now everybody knows. But this isn't about me. This is hurting a lot of people. I've just been thinking about how to fix all of this.
Of course, Strange, yeah.
So, Peter, to what do I owe the pleasure?
I'm sorry to bother you, sir.
Please, we saved half the universe together. I think we're beyond you calling me sir.
Okay, Steven.
That feels weird, but I'll allow it.
Whoa,
When
whoa, 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 whoa,
Mysterio
whoa, whoa,
revealed
whoa,
my
whoa, whoa,
identity-
whoa, whoa, hang on, wait a cotton-picking minute.
Together, I think we're beyond you calling me sir.
Okay, Steven.
That feels weird, but I'll allow it.
When
Okay, that's a black suit. It looks like a black version of his Far From Home suit looking at it. And just so you know, like the screen I'm watching it on is down here if you hadn't gathered already. That's why I'm not looking at you guys, sorry. That's a black suit.
Mysterio revealed my...
There is not a good angle to get this at. Let's go back again.
I think we're beyond you calling me sir.
Okay, Steven.
Damn it, too soon.
That feels weird, but I'll allow it.
Okay, here's an alright angle. So, looking at that, he's just taken his mask off there. So that to me says that this is a fabric suit. It is not the symbiote. This is not Venom entering the MCU. Now, this could mean they are riffing on one of the greatest comic stories of all time for Spider-Man, and that is Back in Black. Back when Civil War happened in the comics, that was actually a civil war and not a little tiff in an airport sort of thing. Spidey's identity got revealed to the world. He did it in a press conference with Iron Man as a way to support the superhero registration scheme. And once that came out, because of the way Spider-Man had operated in the past, this whole secrecy and what have you, suddenly Peter Parker being Spider-Man put everybody he cared about at risk, whether that was Harry Osborn, whether that was Mary Jane, his wife at the time, whether that was his Aunt May, elderly Aunt May in the comics. Everybody was under threat, and it was on the Kingpin's orders. Now, the Kingpin doesn't yet exist in the MCU. They do have an amazing actor for Kingpin from the Netflix versions, but whether they choose to use him or not is going to be interesting. But what happened there was the Kingpin put this hit out upon Peter Parker, and because he has spider sense and can avoid damage, his aunt got shot. And that's when he pulled out the black suit. It was a fabric black suit there as well. It wasn't the symbiote, but it had history in the comics because he'd been the symbiote version, because he'd been this incredibly harsh version of Spider-Man with the black suit. To bring that out in the comics again for Back in Black had this massive meaning. It was symbolic of him throwing away the lighter, colourful exterior of Spider-Man. And he goes and beats 7 shades through Kingpin. Kingpin calls him out, says that Spider-Man wouldn't do this, to which Pete agrees, and he takes the costume off, and just as Peter Parker wails on the Kingpin and tells him to call off every assassin, every hitman, because if anything happens to his family, if anybody dies, he's coming back and killing somebody that the Kingpin loves. It pushes Peter Parker right to the edge, the Back in Black storyline. It is so intense. Now, if they're pulling parts from that, because it's going to be a very similar situation here, and granted this version of Peter Parker doesn't have the 13 years of experience that the comics version does. He's got, 12 months, and then he was dust for 5 years. So he's got about a year's experience. So I don't know what the symbolism of the black suit will be here, other than it's a great thing for us, the watching public. It could be like the black-suited Superman in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Unless you know what's going on with it, it's just an aesthetic choice that's there. We'll have to wait and see on that one, but we've got a black-suited Spider-Man in the MCU. That's interesting.
When Mysterio revealed my identity, my entire
I mean, just
life...
looking at that suit, sorry, just looking at the suit, it looks very much like his Far From Home suit, just all black. So I don't know whether he's taken a can of paint to it, whether he's had Happy or the Stark Tech just whip him up a fully black one. But that's what it looks like. It looks very much like his Far From Home suit in the one fast-moving scene that we've had. I could be very wrong there, but we'll see.
got screwed up. I was wondering if maybe you could make it so that he never did.
Strange.
Don't cast that spell. It's too dangerous. Fine. I won't.
That's never a good thing.
The entire world is about to forget that Peter Parker is...
Okay. This this is problematic for me. Right, let me just see if I can take this back a second here. This scene. So this scene in this underground area, Peter and Strange and this urn type thing in the middle, so this here. This is a scene pulled directly from a comic panel. Now the problem I have with that is the comic panel that it is pulled from is from a story called One Moment in Time, or for short, Omit. Now, alright, buds, just do your thing. Omit was a story that was created to literally omit a story that had been told previously. After Civil War, you got the Black in Black storyline, and then the Marvel executives wanted Peter Parker reset to zero. They wanted him in education, they wanted him as a struggling bachelor, they wanted him to be miserable. But of course he got this massive multi-year history being married to MJ. Their marriage had gone through multiple different phases, through separation, living on different coasts, her career, his superheroing. It had gone through all sorts. And they'd come out super strong on the other side. It was the Marvel power couple. They were better than the Reeds. They were better than any other couple in the comics because it was Pete and MJ. And they had seen and been through so much. One More Day came immediately after Back in Black. So you had your 5 chapters of Back in Black, and then you had a single chapter for One More Day. I think it was a single chapter. I think it was like a bumper chapter, but I think it was a single one. And what that chapter did was have Peter Parker make a deal with the devil to erase the fact that everybody knew his identity. It would also save Aunt May's life after she had been shot by a sniper. And finally, it would erase his marriage to Mary Jane. It is one of only 2 universally hated Spider-Man comics stories. The other one being Omit, which tried to correct what they'd done in One More Day. This scene that you're seeing here in the trailer, other than missing Tony Stark and Iron Man about here, this is pulled directly from the Omit comic. This is One Moment in Time on screen, and it is a universally hated storyline from the comics. That's worrisome. If they're pulling on One Moment in Time, that's going to be an issue. Let me just turn on Do Not Disturb here. There we go. So, yeah, One Moment in Time. Not a fan of that at all. That's problematic. But let's continue. Let's see what else they've got for us.
About to forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Wait, everyone? Can't some people still know?
That's not how the spell works.
So MJ's gonna forget about everything we've ever been through?
Stop tampering with the spell.
Oh my God, Ned, he's my best friend. Oh, my Aunt May should really know.
Stop talking!
So, slight variation from the comics already, which is generally good to see because it caused a lot of friction between Peter Parker and Mary Jane. And Mary Jane just disappeared from the comics for quite a few years because of this narrative decision. In the comics, she is there with him, and the only way she will remember that he is Spider-Man and everything that they've gone through, so not the wedding, not all of that stuff, but most of the big events and what have you. She remembers all of that because she is within that circle with Strange and Parker, but Strange steps out of the circle in the comics to forget himself as well. No one should know who he is. That's the idea there. Just skip this
oh my
back.
God, Ned, he's my best friend. Oh, my Aunt May should really know.
Stop talking!
So yeah, that's a deviation, so they could do much different things here.
What just happened?
tampered with the stability of space-time.
Okay, New York
Multiverse
is
is a
warping,
concept about which we know
multiverse
frighteningly
in a
little.
very strange style way. No idea what you're doing there, but that's
You
interesting.
trying to live two different lives.
Oh, okay. Let's just skip back once more.
The problem is you trying to live two different lives.
This right here. So this could just be Strange pushing Peter out into his astral form. We saw at the end of WandaVision that she's found her astral form. We've seen Strange do this with other people before, just like push them out of their own body sort of thing. That would be very interesting if that's the case, but this could be another one, because what he's saying as all this is happening is the problem is Peter and Spider-Man can't coexist sort of thing. So they might be riffing on a Nick Spencer storyline here from the last 3 or 4 years, where Spider-Man and Peter Parker do actually get totally separated. Spider-Man is hyper efficient and a super good hero at this point because he doesn't have any of the distractions of Peter Parker to deal with. He doesn't have Aunt May to worry about. He doesn't have university classes to re-earn that bachelor's degree and such. So that could be very interesting to see how that plays out if he does actually separate the entities of Peter Parker and Spider-Man. The problem I'm facing is I am seeing so many different narrative threads here that are so strong on their own or weak on their own, depending how you rate these stories from the comics. If you do have Back in Black, this Nick Spencer separation thing, and the One Moment in Time storylines all trying to exist together, I'm starting to see a Spider-Man 3 scenario where it was great in moments, but a lot of the characters and storylines didn't have the space to breathe and grow, and it's why we got an underwhelming Venom, an underwhelming Sandman, an underwhelming symbiote Peter Parker, even an underwhelming Hobgoblin in Harry Osborn. So there's a lot going on here. It feels like so many stories being pulled together. Depends how they do it, of course, but this could be an interesting dynamic to see. So we're going to skip back a little bit again. I do like the squirrel in that particular scene as well, just on the tree in the foreground. That's quite nice. Squirrels are cute. What can I say?
The problem is you trying to live two different lives.
So there you go, they're being separated at that
The longer
point.
you do
Iron
it, the more
Spider.
dangerous it becomes.
Okay, we're going to skip back here because there are quite a few things here.
Trying to live two different lives. The longer you do it, the more
Iron
dangerous it
Spider.
becomes.
You have got Happy Hogan, laser pointers on him. That, on the left-hand side of the screen right here, that is a huge amount of electricity. Now, we already know Jamie Foxx is returning as Electro. So we've got Electro here. But right in this middle here, this is sand forming up. This is Sandman. We are looking to get the Sinister Six. There, boom, that's it. The face, you've got the face right here. What quality have I got this video in? Because it looks really low. It's apparently 1080. Does it go higher? No, it doesn't. But this is a face. This is a shoulder and arm. This is Electro. So we've got already two main villains alongside the whole identity crisis thing. That's Defoe. That is Defoe's laugh. Like, if you go back and watch Tobey Maguire's first Spider-Man, that is purely Defoe. Like, even the echo of it when he's hearing it in his head or hearing it from afar, that's Defoe. So we've got Green Goblin, we've got Electro, we've got Sandman. I don't know who's playing Sandman, though. That one will be interesting.
Be careful what you wish for, Parker.
Okay, that was strange. And of course...
Hello, Pete.
Alfred... What is going on with the look of Alfred Molina here? What? Why does he look so artificial? Could be his hair is dyed. Doc Ock, you can let Doc Ock age. Doc Ock has aged and died in the comics and then come back quite a bit younger through cloning technology. So they could easily let Doc Ock age, and I think it's because it's dyed hair and a uniform colour that it makes him look a little bit weird. It's a different costume to what he had in the Tobey Maguire movies, so that's quite interesting, but we knew he was coming back as Doc Ock anyway, so this isn't a huge surprise. The surprise to me is the way that he looks. He looks very artificially young. It just looks odd to me. Iron Spider again. And get yourself a DualSense controller for the PS5 whilst you're at it. Okay, cool. So that is the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. I have some major concerns coming off that with some of the story beats they're looking to riff upon. Definitely worries me a little bit if they are going with the omit or one more day type story. It looks like they're pulling on so many different narrative threads as well. They've got the multiverse coming in. Spider-Verse already exists. We know that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is canon outside of Earth 616. Just like the PlayStation version of Peter Miles are both canon. Even the Tobey and Andrew Garfield versions are canon versions. They just exist in different universes outside of the main core comics Earth 616. So that's fine. There's a lot going on. I fear it's too much because we've got multiverse, we've got One Moment in Time, we've got Back in Black, we've got Sinister Six, and we've got what looks like a separating of Pete and Spider-Man storyline. That's 5 different story narrative threads that all have to go into a 2-hour movie. I mean, we've seen the MCU has put out longer movies, so it could be much longer, we don't know. But the Spider-Man movies haven't really run more than the 2 hours previously. I'm just worried, that's a lot. 5 narrative threads is a lot to deal with. 1 antagonist is a lot to deal with, let alone 6. Now, if they go the original formation route and have Doc Ock as the main guy and he's just got these 5 guys around him to help take out Peter Parker, that'll be interesting. We didn't see whether we've got Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield there either. There's many questions. My big concern is there's a lot going on, and as we saw with Spider-Man 3, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3, if you've got too much going on and you don't know how to spin those plates and balance it, it will be a catastrophic failure and fall down around you. There's a lot there. There's a heck of a lot. And I understand why people will be hyped from that. Me personally, it's very worrisome. I worry it will be a poor movie. Even though I don't like the character anyway, many people do. And there is so much happening, so many narrative threads being pulled upon, it could just be too much. Like, as a phenomenal actor as Tom Holland is, as phenomenal as Zendaya is, there's only so much amazing actors can do for a movie. The rest has to be in scripting, editing, post-production, special effects. There is so much going on here. This could either be absolutely amazing or it could be really poor. And I don't think it's going to be a middle ground. It's going to be one or the other. But we'll have to wait until December 17th to find out. So yeah, that's it guys. That is my first ever reactions video. Thank you all for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you're super hyped for it, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to take my word for anything. If you're like me, a little bit worried because you can see hints of bad storylines as well as too many storylines going on in there, completely get that as well. But yeah, note it in the comments below. Let's have a bit of a discussion around it and see what we all think together. That is the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer and my initial reaction to it. So thank you all very much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the thumb of your preferred option. I have no problem if you want to put a thumb down. If you didn't like what you saw here, that's fine. Any interaction is good for the YouTube algorithm. I would, of course, personally prefer that thumbs up if you would. You can also hit subscribe and hit the bell for notifications if you want to see more from the channel. I'm doing better on the socials as well, so there's links in the description box below for the socials if you want to follow me over there. But otherwise, guys, your viewership is always more than enough for me. And until next time, have yourselves a fantastic day and take care.